Alright dude, so in the home crafted hot sauce community, there seems to be somewhat of a hot topic, if you will, specifically talking about lacto fermented hot sauces, okay? The debacle is that when you lacto ferment the ingredients, that some people are really against cooking the ingredients afterwards, some people are in favor of it, okay? These are equal, okay? Same amount of pepper, same amount of onion, same amount of garlic, the brine amount is the same. So one of the big topics is that cooking the ingredients after the fermentation process completely negates the fermentation process entirely, okay? Some people think that it ruins the flavor. Some people are very much against killing that lactobacillus, you know, the good bacteria culture in there that's basically responsible for the fermentation process entirely, right? Really, if you think about it, commercial made hot sauces that have been fermented either have been cooked to sanitize the sauce or they have an extreme amount of vinegar added to it to lower that pH to kill the bacteria anyway. But the cool thing about cooking is that you could customize it, right? Adjust recipes to your liking, to your preferences, of course. It's all subjective at the end of the day. That includes home crafted hot sauces too. Depending on your preference, you could either just blend the sauce. I like to strain it, and then you could just keep the hot sauce with that live culture. Alternatively, you could cook the ingredients, blend it, strain it, and then there you go. So the whole point of the video is to compare the two different sauces. This one I'm gonna blend, strain it, keep raw. This one I'm gonna cook the ingredients, blend it, strain it, and then let it cool. Taste the two of them comparatively. So the main thing I wanna see is how different the flavors are. Does cooking the ingredients after the fermentation process completely negate the fermentation process entirely? I don't know, man. I don't think so. But that's the whole point of this experiment, is to see if it really makes that dramatic of a difference. Keeping the ingredients raw, cooking the ingredients, right? It's gonna be fun. Let's go.
So the very first thing I want to do is go over the lacto fermentation process itself. The preferred method I like to use is called the Noma Guide to Fermentation Way. There are, of course, many ways to go about doing this. So the ingredients I'm going to use is equal amongst both of the sauces. Half an onion, 2 garlic cloves, and 14 serrano peppers. With the peppers, all I like to do is cut off the tops. And then cut the peppers in half. I like to inspect the insides of the peppers too to make sure they're looking pretty good. With the garlic, just give it a light smash and cut off the root end, remove the outer paper layer. And the onion, just give it a rough dice. Next, you grab a scale, set it the grams, place the jar onto the scale, and tare the scale. Add all your ingredients into the jar, typically like to do the garlic and then the onions and then shove the peppers on top. I cut the peppers in half like that because they will wedge themselves against the jar and they have a less tendency to float to the top. Fill the jar to the bottom of the neck with filtered water. Now, record this weight, 810 grams. And you want to multiply that by 2.5% and you get 20.25 grams, which is the amount of salt that we need for our brine. Grab a bowl, place it on the scale, tare the scale, and add the calculated amount of salt. Now grab a little bit of that water from the jar and pour it into the bowl with the salt. Give it a whisk to dissolve the salt and then pour it back into the jar. It's as simple as that. Now I do want to take note that the most important thing when you're fermenting anything is keeping those ingredients submerged underneath that brine level. Anything that has a tendency to float, I will skim it off and place the weight into the jar. If you have a fermentation weight, you could go ahead and use that. Also, to cover it, I like to use a coffee filter and a rubber band just to secure it. Of course, you could use those airlock lids that are specifically made for fermentation. Now you want to let this ferment on the countertop or in the pantry away from direct sunlight at room temperature for 30 days. The optimal temperature range I've found is 68 to about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, I like to put these onto a glass dish to catch any kind of overspill and just let them rip for 30 days. Dude, it is super easy, and you'll see signs after about day 3 or 4 of fermentation starting to happen. That'll be like little tiny bubbles forming on the outside of the peppers.
So first thing I want to do, check the pH of the brine itself. I'm looking for anything less than 4.6 to know that the fermentation process took. Typically my fermented peppers that I use for making sauces sit around 3.6, 3.7, somewhere around there. It smells great. Has like a kind of like a sweet and sour smell to it. It smells acidic, which I like. This is way better than litmus paper because that could be a little more difficult to read, right? 3.3, excellent. That is perfect. Always super important that you make sure that your ingredients stay submerged underneath this brine level at all times, which when I had my weight on there, it brought that brine level up. I've been fermenting the same for years and I've never had any issues just doing things the way that I do. I use some sort of a ceramic dish for a weight. You could use a little glass jar. Dude, the whole point of me telling you this is you don't have to invest in a whole bunch of like fermentation weights and airlock lids to get started with fermentation. You know, if you're fermenting peppers, then I cut them in a way that they typically stay underneath that brine level anyway. The whole point of the weight is to make sure that that brine level goes higher, you know, leaves like an inch gap between the top of the peppers to the brine level, right? Then that way I know for sure that brine level stays above those ingredients, because peppers touch just that open air, then they're probably gonna mold and you're gonna have to start from scratch. You could buy fermentation weights, you could buy lids with airlock. There's kits all day long on Amazon that you could buy, you know, airlock lids, there's variations of them. Sourdough starter that I've had, this is about 1.5 years old right here. I like this lid though, because it has like this little rubber flap on it. You know what I mean? And it works great. I love this thing, dude. It only cost me like 110 bucks. Comes with buffer solution if you need to recalibrate it. It's amazing, dude. You know, if you ferment a lot, make your own hot sauces, then definitely get one of these. These are serrano peppers so that they're not crazy spicy. But if you're sensitive to capsaicin, then I'll show you a little trick here in 1 second. Keep a lid on a stock pot when you're simmering the ingredients. It's gonna get simmered for about 20 minutes. It's gonna help keep airborne capsaicin from going out through your house, right? Those fumes are gonna irritate your nose, irritate your throat, irritate your eyes. It's gonna be kind of a miserable experience, especially if you're doing like getting up there with habaneros, getting even higher with, you know, ghost peppers, reapers. You're gonna wanna probably do those ones outside with a lid. Those fumes are gnarly. Bring this up to a boil, reduce the heat to like a medium low, simmer it for 20 minutes, okay? Vitamix, just blend it, whatever you have. Everything is gonna get added to this at first, but then I wanna adjust the sauce consistency with the amount of brine. Ideally, I like to start with just less than half. This has a little bit too much, because I don't wanna have a sauce that's too thin. As it's blending, then you could add more of the liquid to it. Put a lid on it, high, let her rip. Straining the sauce is really simple, dude. It's a bowl, mesh strainer, dump the sauce in, man. See how pulpy that is? If you have a better blender, then it'll obviously break it up a little bit better. Get a small ladle, that's what I like to use, and just lightly work that sauce through the mesh. This pulp is awesome too. I have videos on how to make seasoned salts with this. You just dry it out in the oven, 190 degrees Fahrenheit for a couple hours until it's nice and dry. Spice grinder, grind it up into powder, mix with some salt, boom. Dude, killer seasoned salt right there. I think it ended up being a little on the thin side. Should have used a little bit less brine, but it's all right. Right on the parchment, dude. This makes the best, and I mean the best seasoned salts. Or if you don't want to use it as a seasoned salt, you could use it, grind it up into powder after you dehydrate it to make other kind of things. Like you can add it to sour cream and make some sort of like a creamy, like spicy sauce for tacos. I put this in the oven. Sometimes I put it in my smoker too. It kind of depends on if I'm smoking other things at that time. It's fermented, drying out with the smoker, and then grinding it. Dude, that is good. To the brim. I like it. I'm gonna give this a little taste right now, dude. I'm like super curious on how this one tastes. My hypothesis is that it's gonna have just a little bit more of like a fresher taste, obviously, because it's not cooked. But whether or not it's better, it's all subjective. Whew, that's pretty damn good. While I'm letting those ingredients simmer out, I'm gonna wash out the blender, wash out my strainer, wash out that bowl, and then by that time, those ingredients should be softened up. Simmer in the ingredients for about 20 minutes to kind of also sanitize it. Hot sauce number 1, complete. Lacto fermented hot sauce, 30-day ferment, live active culture in it. It's amazing, man. A little on the thin side, like I said, but that's kind of a, you know, my mistake. Normally I like my sauces to have a little bit more thickness to it. Other than what I've explained earlier, like the cooking the fermented ingredients, the straining the ingredients, viscosity of the sauce itself. This is all subjective, of course. All right, dude, so you just want these ingredients to be like incredibly soft because I want them to break up completely. consistency on this one is so good. It's gonna thicken up as it cools a little bit too. So something to kind of keep in mind with hot sauces that you cook. I want this one to cool down to about room temperature, so like about 80 degrees, like 75, 80 degrees in here right now. On the topic of making homemade seasoned salts with the dried out pulp from straining the ingredients, or straining the sauce out, right? This is a salt that I made from my honey whiskey drunken serrano hot sauce that I made, that I cooked the peppers off basically on my smoker. So it has a beautiful smoky finish, nice like honey whiskey flavor to it. This is probably by far the most amazing seasoned salt that I made. Besides crafting my own homemade hot sauces, I also love making seasoned salts, man. This one's so good. Amongst my non-fermented hot sauces that I do, that one's probably one of my favorites. A slight color difference. Not much. It might be kind of hard to see it on camera, but there is a difference. This is the raw one, then this one is the cooked one. That one smells a little bit more grassy than this one. This one has no grassy tones to it. Interesting. We're gonna taste these back to back. I already tasted this one and we discovered that it's freaking awesome. But we're gonna do it again. Just a little bit on the spoon. See how it did. Other than the thickness on that one, I like it. It's nice. It tastes like a little bit fresher. It tastes like it has more highlighted grassy tones to it, which serrano peppers, especially when they're green ones, unripened serrano peppers, they definitely have more of a green, like grassy, just undertone to them. It's a lot more highlighted in this one. A little bit of a palate cleanser. Water is what I have. So far, this is a really fun experiment, man. It took about a month to come to this point, which is cool. I love the thickness of this one, dude. But to me, this one's perfect, dude. It's able to run a little bit, but it holds its shape a little bit better. You know, that's kind of what I like. Okay, they do taste different. It's good. It's like the pepper flavor in this one is a lot more pronounced. This one, I'm getting a lot more grassy tones to it. Is one better than the other? No, dude, not really. They're both amazing sauces, dude. Like, you're gonna be happy either way. They are different, but they're not, one doesn't outweigh the other one as being better or not. Kind of just whatever it is that you're after. If you're after like beneficial bacteria in there, dude, go for this one. If you're after that flavor that you get from the fermentation process and not really concerned with the beneficial bacteria, and you don't really care about cooking the ingredients, like, go for that one. It's like, they're both fantastic. I don't know, man. I like this one a little bit better. Just because the flavor is a little bit more concentrated in the pepper and the onion. At the end of the day, dude, cooking is cooking, everything is customizable, and you choose your hot sauce destination.